of you have quit doing something when you felt like you were failing? Hello, my name is Alana and I believe it is important to persevere, even if it feels like everything is a complete failure. Life isn't easy. It's full of challenges and difficult tasks. We know that. However, we should pause and think twice before giving up. For instance, take an activity, basketball, art, piano, it doesn't matter. Now imagine that you are the worst person to ever play that sport. You can't get past drawing stick figures, or you just can't seem to get the hang of that instrument. You'd want to quit, right? I know I would. This is basic human psychology. In other words, it's how our brains work. If we start to visualize the end goal, we stop trying our best because we feel that our goals are too far away. The idea of giving up and quitting is present in our minds the whole time. But we decide to quit when we feel that our goal is unreachable and begin to think of it more as an uphill challenge and we will never be able to successfully reach it. The thing is, we will never get anything done if we always give up. It is necessary to continue so we can be as successful as we possibly can. When I was in 4th grade, my brother started his first year of playing baseball. My dad encouraged me to try it out as well, so I thought, sure, how hard can it be? The answer, really hard. Softball is nearly impossible to play when you start at playing 10 or 11 years old. All of my teammates have been playing since they were 5 or 6 years old. I was the worst player. Before I started my first season, I didn't know how to throw a ball. I was that bad. I spent weeks trying to improve my hitting, strength, accuracy, everything. I went to the batting cage, spent hours training with my dad, and tried my best during practices, but it wasn't enough. There were so many times where I was so exhausted that I just wanted to give up, but my coaches and teammates urged me to keep going. I finally hit the ball during a game for the first time in the middle of the season. I didn't get on base, but that fueled me to keep getting better. I ended up getting on base by the next game. By the end of 2 years, I had greatly improved as a softball player. However, I'm only telling you this in hindsight because in 5th grade, I wasn't able to see that I improved as much as my coaches and parents told me. I felt like I wasn't good enough. That softball wasn't my sport to play, so I quit. I chose to try some different sports for St. Matthew's. I played soccer, basketball, and volleyball, but I didn't feel the spark that I felt while playing softball. I thought about it for a while and wondered if softball really was my sport to play. In 7th grade, I decided I would return to softball, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Besides making many close friends on my teams, I can proudly say that I am a good softball player. If I had quit, I wouldn't have been able to learn how to achieve my goals. I have faced a much bigger challenge in softball, and it was when I started middle school here at St. Matthew's. At my elementary school, I made friends because we liked the same toy and played the same games, or we knew each other because our parents were friends. There were 30 kids in my class, and they were like family. I knew every single one of my classmates so well. My teachers called me a social butterfly, and my parents always believed making friends was my forte. In middle school, however, I was thrust into a situation where I only knew 3 other people. I was familiar with them because they went to my old school with me. I have to admit, I was terrible at making new friends. My parents always had a specific image of me being their social, friendly daughter, so I didn't want to mess it up and mention this problem that I had. I wouldn't talk to people unless they talked to me first. I constantly wondered why I didn't want to talk to people. Then it hit me. I was afraid to interact with them. My social anxiety really got the better of me. I couldn't explain why every time I made friends, I didn't ever hang out with them. Sometimes they asked me to, but I always said I had something to do. I had the opposite of FOMO, or fear of missing out. I was afraid to be included. Additionally, I didn't get a phone until halfway through 8th grade, so I was never included in any of the school or friend chats, which is how most of my classmates socialized outside of school. I had to overcome my phobia of socializing in order to be more confident and to succeed in life. Fortunately, I asked my parents for advice, and they suggested finding people who have similar interests as me so we had things to do and talk about when we would hang out. I tried out their advice, and it wasn't easy at first because I was afraid I would get rejected or come across as being awkward, but eventually it came naturally. While we are on the topic of social interaction, I recently read an article about how kids in our generation are growing up to be the loneliest kids ever to exist. Since we are always plugged in, we no longer want to interact socially in real life with our friends. As I said earlier, I didn't receive a phone until the middle of 8th grade. At the time, I felt that it was extremely unfair that all of my friends had a phone and I didn't. Looking back, however, I realized that my parents delayed giving me a phone so I wouldn't get caught up with social media, so I would hang out at the library with a close friend when I had nothing to do, so I could spend my free time riding a bike and spend my family time playing board games. Basically, so I could create childhood memories through physical and social interaction. So while I work on overcoming my social anxiety, perhaps we can all work on hanging out without our phones every once in a while. In the scripture that Audra read for us, Paul is telling the Colossians that he has been praying for them so they will be able to withstand the challenges they face as Christians who are being persecuted. He prays that God will give them wisdom and understanding, strength, patience, and power, also that they will never give up. These are the qualities we need when we are facing our problems. Whether it is softball, social issues, or any other problems, we can't give up. If we do, we might lose an opportunity or limit our ability to grow. It is important to power through challenges when we come across them, even when it is stressful and painful to face possible failure. I promise it will be worth it in the long run. Thank you.